Hi, welcome to Paint Branch Edge. My name is AJ. I'm accompanied by Mr. Ellis, Mr. Woodward, Rashab, and Angad. All right, so as you can see, Seattle and the Steelers, I really wanted to just bring out that sticky note that I wrote where I had the exact quote of what Mr. Ellis said, an exact quote of his prediction, but I can't do that. Fortunately, we lost. It was a hard fought game. It was a really fun game to watch. Not good teams, teams that aren't doing well, going at it, and it was just a good game to watch. But we're probably, I hope, please, Russell, please don't ever get injured again, ever, like ever.
As for my Washington football team, we just can't have both sides of the ball play on the same day. Some days our offense plays, our defense doesn't play. Some days our defense plays, our offense doesn't play. This week, it was our defense. They played one half, and then our entire team disappeared second half. We just need to work on consistency and getting things right. I, I don't see a lot of upside for this team right now.
Yeah, man. Our Ravens. How about those Ravens? Like that's kind of where we're in the Roy Lewis jersey right now, man. Impressive defensive performance by the Ravens. I expected this to be a complete shootout. Like considering the way our defense got torn up by Indy and Jonathan Taylor and Carson Wentz, I was like Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, Justin Herbert. I was like, oh boy, we're in for a shootout, aren't we? But our game plan was amazing. We limited Justin Herbert. We limited Mike Williams. They kept targeting Marlon Humphrey, which I made no sense. And they kept going for it within like deep in their own territory. But I'm not gonna question it. I'm happy that my Ravens came in with the dub. So yeah.
Well, for the Patriots, I think we can. I imagine we'd all agree that last week the Patriots Cowboys was the best game of the week, and that was just an absolutely fantastic football game. I did get a chance to talk to Coach Nee today and talk a little bit about it. He's been a busy man. He was watching it on somebody was streaming it on TikTok or something like that. That's how he was watching it because he was out of town, and that's a hardcore Cowboy fan right there, and he is just in Coach Nee fashion. Yeah, it was good. It's good. Yeah, definitely good. Low key, but I think he feels good about the Cowboys. And be honest with you, I feel good about the Patriots. It's going to sound a little arrogant, and I apologize for it, but it's nice to be able to watch the Patriots play and not be stressed that I think I used to root when they were really, really good, the Tom Brady years, that they not lose as much as they win sometimes, because I wanted to win the division, get to the playoffs and get to the Super Bowl. And this is kind of like how I felt back in the day when they didn't have Tom Brady, they didn't have some of these players and championships. And it's really kind of refreshing to be rooting for Mac Jones and Judon and some of these, Damian Harris, and having these young guys become great players because I could see a great future for them. So that's what I mean by, it's a little bit different experience this year. It's a lot better than it was last year. I'll tell you that.
Well, I feel like my team is kind of like where your team was last year, Mr. Woodward, kind of like in, no man's land at this point. We don't quite know what the quarterback situation can be like next year. This year, there's just not enough juice to win it all. So, like, you wonder where the effort's going to be consistently week to week. We did enough to get it done against the depleted Seattle squad. I mean, big props to Seattle. When they came out in that second half, man, I mean, after the halftime show, if you're a Steelers fan, the halftime show was the highlight of like the last 5 years of football. It was amazing to see the legends out there on the field, just being alive and being able to be out there together. It was really cool to see. And honestly, to see Troy come back was quite emotional because, not sure if you guys know this, but it was a very bad end to the Troy Polamalu era in terms of the team and the connection. So getting him back and just hearing him talk, there has never been a better face. And I'm going to say it right now. Joe Green is the Steelers. But in my generation, it's Troy Polamalu. And if I'm going to rank who the number 2 Steeler of all time is, to me, there is no question who it is. There is no one that embodies the Steeler way more like Troy Polamalu. And just having his presence out there talking about, what he wants to rebirth is a great thing. And I say it because he shouted out a guy who meant a lot to a lot of people in Pittsburgh and a lot around this world, a guy by the name of Jerry Rabinowitz. And I'm sorry I'm taking a moment, but J Rabs passed away 3 years ago tomorrow in the Tree of Life tragedy in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And the first doctor to treat AIDS patients on the East Coast, the second doctor in America to come out and openly say that he supports serving this drug to people. This guy was a true revolutionary in this country. He was extremely underrated. And I just want to say cheers to him. And when Troy Polamalu brought up his name, it just reminded me how much I missed him around the Steelers. And just having his aura in there, I think, got us that W. He stayed to the bitter end, by the way. Peace to J-Rab. TP 43.
For sure. All respect to Troy Polamalu and everything that he's done. But I don't know if you guys have seen on Instagram or on Sports Center that Troy Polamalu traded a terrible towel for a Seahawks jersey. How could he do that?
When you beat him in the Super Bowl, it's easy to do, man. You're just having fun with those people, you know. You're like, yeah, you guys got a long way to go.
Now a Seahawk fan has a terrible towel. Like that's brilliant. Now he has a Seahawk fan who no longer has a jersey but has a terrible towel. You know, Troy Polamalu just puts it up on his wall or whatever he wants to do with it, like everything else.
All right. So for our first game, we have the Broncos going up against the Browns. Now for the Browns, their whole key players are out in this game. Key players are out. Baker Mayfield's out. Odell Beckham Jr.'s out. Jarvis Landry just got cleared. It just got put off the injured reserve list. So, I mean, is that going to make much of a difference in this game? Absolutely not. My answer is absolutely not. Denver, Teddy Bridgewater, he did his thing. They're hot right now. They're just a good team, good quarterback, and I just feel that Cleveland just has no chance in this. So I just have the Broncos winning this score of 28-14.
This game is just a matchup of two enigmas. Are the Browns ready to contend or be good? And are the Broncos as good as we thought they were the first 3 weeks? I don't believe they are. But they have a bit of advantage here. As AJ said, the Browns are missing a lot of players. They're missing their starting backfield in Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, which is a big blow because, as Mr. Ellis has said in the past few weeks, they're a running team. They will run the ball at any given chance. They will run it, run, because they can't rely on Baker Mayfield, Mr. Ellis's least favorite quarterback. But now they have Case Keenum. He's nowhere as good as Baker Mayfield. He's probably worse. And I feel like the Broncos might have a chance for that, like that defense we saw in the first 3 weeks to show up again. They get a nice little, I guess, a pick-me-up game. And I have the Broncos winning this game 27-10.
Yeah, with both Chubb and Hunt out and the loss of starting QB Baker Mayfield, Browns are gonna struggle more on the offensive side than the defensive side. But the Broncos still haven't been able to carry on that red hot start that they had as the season began. But I think only Denver alone is going to take the win here just because of the Browns' losses on the offense. And since like the Browns' bread and butter on offense is running the ball with Chubb and Hunt, with the losses of them, I don't see this offense gaining any steam in this game. Give me Denver 21-17.
You know, that's interesting. I got burned by the Broncos last week. I sat here and said, you know, that the Raiders would have nothing, that they would be totally a dead team, and didn't expect much from them. The Broncos would come out and just smash them in the teeth. And it went the exact opposite way. Everything I read, everything I heard about it, the Raiders just came out and punched them in the mouth, and the Broncos had nothing to respond to. And so they've got a situation here, I think, where they're traveling east. And while they are still facing a Browns team that is definitely undermanned, you know, I mean, losing Baker Mayfield, losing OBJ, losing Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb is definitely going to affect them. But I don't think Case Keenum's that bad. I think he's serviceable. I think he's going to come in. I think he's going to run the offense. I think he's going to get the ball to Jarvis Landry. And I don't believe in the Broncos, and I don't believe in Teddy Bridgewater after what I saw last week. And so for this one, I think the defense needs to win this one for the Browns. I think that's probably what they've been preaching all week long. The defense needs to step up. They're home, and I think they'll rally. I see them pulling this one. I think the Browns will take this one 27-21.
Seem to remember a game last year, sometime in the first week of January, where everybody looked and said, wow, look at all these. Cleveland's going out there with no coach. You know, they got their special teams coach coaching against the mighty Steelers in the playoffs in Pittsburgh, and then we got blitzed. So I think a similar thing is going to happen tonight. I agree with Mr. Woodward. Any faith I had in the Broncos is completely gone after last week. I mean, when you've got a team buried that you're playing and they literally unearth themselves from the ground and evil dead you right back down to where you were, you know, Bruce Campbell style, yeah, it's not looking good for you. So I got Blowout City tonight. I got the Clowns 27, Denver 10. Injuries be darned.
All right. So for our second game, we have the Washington football team going up against the Green Bay Packers. Now, I don't know if you guys saw when Aaron Rodgers scored that touchdown and he screamed at the at the Bears fans, "I still own you. I still own you." Now, if I was a Bears fan, I wouldn't know how to. I think I would just leave. I would just leave. If that was said to me, "I still own you." I would leave. I mean, let's be serious here. I would just leave. Come on now. If I'm right there and you come up to me and say, I would leave. Let's just be honest. I would leave. But Aaron Rodgers, hot. I mean, I'm pretty sure this is what we expected from him. Can I make a suggestion? Could we have a back-to-back MVP? Maybe. You never know, but I definitely have Green Bay winning this game against Washington. You know, as On God said, sometimes Washington's offense shows up and then their defense does it, or their defense shows up and their offense doesn't. But I just feel that that this week their defense is not going to show up against Aaron Rodgers, and I got the score being a score of 28-17.
You know, looking at this game and also the schedule of the Packers, they are a 5-1 team, but I would like to say I feel like their four of their wins came against somewhat easy teams like the Lions, 49ers, sorry, Mr. Ellis, but the Steelers, and then the Bears. This I think the Bengals are the biggest competition, and they won that. Like that was good. And as for the Washington football team, and as AJ just said, we don't know when we want to play like as a full team. Our defense showed up big in the first half last week. We held the Chiefs to 10 points. That's a team with an explosive offense. They can ignite anytime. And just hopefully we bring that same energy on defense to this game against Green Bay. I don't think we'll be able to limit them as much as we were able to limit the Chiefs. But after just falling down on our face again and again and again, I feel like Ron Rivera is going to use his trump card of experience and hopefully change something up and show why we believed in him, like bring his culture change experience because he's not doing what we thought he would this season. And I'm going to keep riding with my team. I hope Rivera changes something. I think he does change something. And also, we cut our kicker, Dustin Hopkins, and replaced him with the greatest kicker name ever, Chris Blewett. So, as a joke, but also somewhat confident.
What did you do to Julie Donaldson is my question. I think she was the one keeping him around to begin with, right?
Yeah.
I don't even know. But as a joke, but also a brave prediction, I had the Washington football team winning this with a game-winning kick by Chris Blewett.
Oh my goodness. I mean,
My score is 27-24. Chris Blewett for the win.
oh my God. You gotta love the dedication, man. You gotta love the you gotta love the faith Ungud has in his Washington football team. You gotta love it. But this Washington defensive unit has been like highly praised coming into the season, and rightfully so. Like coming into the season, on paper, this defense looked stout. Like Chase Young, Deron Payne, Jonathan Allen, all in the D line with the additions of William Jackson and the drafting of Benjamin St-Juste. It looked like a good team. It looked like a good, solid team. But it's been a huge disappointment so far. And, you know, facing A-Rod at Lambeau, will be tough sledding for these guys. And, you know, I'm expecting a huge day out of Aaron Rodgers and especially Devontae Adams. Give me Green Bay. It's 41-20.
That new kicker's name, that's amazing. And that's an outstanding prediction. It's crazy. It's never going to happen, but I love it. I think this one is just set up for, as Mr. Ellis would say, blowout city. And the only reason it won't be blowout city, I think, is because the Packers, their defense isn't very good. Their secondary's all beat up. And so the Washington football team they could stick around for a while, you know, although I'm losing my faith in Taylor Heineke. I don't want to. You know, I love some of the way, you know, some of the games he's played. Obviously that playoff game, but definitely crashed down to earth last week. Not some throws that he definitely wanted back, some plays, some of the stuff I read and heard on the radio was, they need him to go down the field a little bit more, take some more, some risks. But if they do that this week, maybe they'll find some success because the Packers defense is somewhat shredded. But think about this, based on, we bring up the Washington defense every single week. And I brought it up last week too. I thought last week would be the week they might step forward because of the challenge, and they did. And to honor Sean Taylor, I love the mask on Chase Young, bringing it, representing and everything. But this statistic floored me. Washington has the league's worst scoring defense. And that's a sign of, you're not going to succeed if you have the worst scoring defense. I mean, bend but don't break will win you a lot more football games than some splashy moments. So I like them to stick around in this one for a bit, but then eventually I think it turns into a blowout. I think Pac's going to take this one 38-24.
Scary Terry, we got Halloween coming up here soon, and he's an amazing player, and I like him as an all-around guy. He's like a Hines Ward, except a dynamic receiver. That's pretty awesome to have, man. But I'll tell you what, he's going to not last too long in the league if his quarterback continues to be the guy that's behind center, man. The guy's going to, much as Ben got Juju pretty much ruined for his career with this injury by throwing it on the inside when he should have thrown outside and gotten Juju literally knocked out for the season. I don't know how long it's going to take before we see that from Heinicke. He's just not an experienced quarterback. Doesn't look good back there. Did okay, cleaned up against bad teams, but yeah, this doesn't look good. At the same time, I think they can control the ball. Look at the first half last week, right? Where they averaged like 6.5 yards a carry the first half. They were possessing the ball, keeping KC off the field, going into halftime looking good, right? Second half coming out, nothing but throw. When Heinicke borrowed the Ben playbook of draw it up in the dirt and just throw 3-yard passes into the ground for an entire quarter, or I don't know. At the same time, this game's going to be 21-17. Close game. Green Bay hangs on to win. I do think Washington will control the ball early, and I think that Green Bay's slow starts could hurt them. Of course, I said that last week about the Ravens, and well, wasn't right there.
All right. So for our next game, we have the Chiefs going up against the Titans. Now, I know you guys seen the Titans versus Bills game. Why did Buffalo not go for the field goal? See, I don't know if you guys know Clay Foster, but big Buffalo fan. I see him. I go, how much is a field goal worth? He said 3 points. I'm like, maybe you might need to tell the Bills that. I don't know. And then, you could just see him just get red, just turn red. I'm like, I'm sorry. But I'm pretty sure anyone in the right mind would have gone for a field goal. I mean, a QB sneak in that position, to me, it looked very far. Josh Allen wasn't even under center at that point. He was all the way backed up and thinks he could just dive and have a failed QB sneak attempt, which was just hilarious to me. But for this game, I have the Titans winning this one. Derrick Henry, he's hot. He's hot. I mean, as much as I hate to say it, for what I'm still salty what he did to my Seahawks, but he had a good touchdown run, and I feel that he is going to tear up Kansas City's defense. I got the score being 34-28.
Last week, both these teams showed us what they can be, despite some disappointing showings from both sides. The Titans showed they can hang with the big teams in the AFC. Their defense is bad, but the offense can carry them, especially Derrick Henry. And then as for the Chiefs, that offense I mentioned earlier, they can just ignite whenever they want. And honestly, I don't know if last week was more of the Titans showing their strengths or just exposing the mini weaknesses the Bills had, as Mr. Ellis kept on mentioning early on. But I feel like this game has potential to be a shootout. Both these defenses are weak. The Chiefs really struggle stopping the run. They allowed our offense to get 6 yards per carry, and that's just we were missing most of our linemen. I think 2 starting linemen. And then now this week they're playing Derrick Henry, arguably the best running back in the league. Not even arguably, I think hands down he is. And I think that'll cause some trouble for the Chiefs. And after last week, their offense seems to be fired up. I think they'll be able to take advantage of this Titans defense that isn't always playing the best. They're always getting exposed somehow. And I think this week they'll pay for it. I have the Chiefs winning this game 37-31.
I knew Mr. Ellis was laughing his butt off when Josh Allen decided to like take the QB sneak. I was like, that's trash Allen for you. That's trash Allen for you. But yeah, I think the Titans had a really impressive victory against Buffalo, but you know, Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes. Even though as slow as the season has started for the Kansas City Chiefs, I think Patrick Mahomes is a bigger challenge than Josh Allen. But you know, with the win coming for the Titans, they also suffered a loss. They lost Caleb Farley and Taylor Lewan on that O line. So Mahomes is probably going to have a good game. And I think the Chiefs defense is going to muster enough strength to stop Derrick Henry this game. Give me the Chiefs 37-20.
I don't think the Chiefs can stop anybody. You know, I think that they struggle on that side of the ball for sure. And I can't wait to see Derrick Henry just truck Teron Matthew. I would love to see that. Just Matthew coming up and just Derrick Henry, stiff arm would be fine because that's probably all he'd need to take him down. And I like Teron Matthew. He's a great hard-nosed player. But man, I love watching Derrick Henry play, man. It's a man amongst boys, even in the NFL. It's amazing, you know, just a great football player. The Titans surprised me. You know, they're 4-2 and they're facing the 3-3 Chiefs. And, you know, this could have been a preview of the AFC title game. I don't think people would be surprised to see this, you know, happen. And interestingly enough, the Chiefs right now are outside the playoff picture. They're not even in the playoffs if we were to start. Now, that's why it's I was going to say 17 game season. I'm not used to that yet. But the Chiefs will definitely, I think they will find a way to play better and get better. But this is a tough week for them. And at the Titans, it's going to make it tough for them. And I agree, Patrick Mahomes is a better quarterback than Josh Allen, but I don't think he's playing with a team that's as good as the Bills right now. And so the Titans defense is in the top 5 right now. So top 5 defense against Patrick Mahomes, that's going to be a problem. And I think that they will continue to put up points like they did last week. And I think that they will, you know, they'll bend some. And Mahomes will probably throw at least one more interception. And this time it could cost him. It didn't really cost him last week against the football team. But I see the Titans at home taking this one. Pretty high scoring game, 34-27.
Yep. This is a tough one, man. But not that tough. Tennessee can control the ball, and I think that's the team that wins this game. Chiefs' run defense is horrible. They look to me like the 2006 Steelers, right? This team with incredible talent, top to bottom, but just things aren't fitting together, right? Injuries happen at the wrong time. Basically, they've had some good fortune in the last few years, and this year it's kind of catching up with them a little bit. You're going to have that from time to time. I still think they bounce back and are a championship contender, but I think this Chiefs team is going to be on the outside looking in. I like Tennessee to control the ball a little bit better. I still don't think their defense is good. That's stunning that they're in top 5 on defense. Really stunning. But at the end of the day, I like 23-20 Titans to hang on and go to 5-2, despite losing to the Jets.
Well, I'm going to be honest here. The Chiefs in that game don't stand a chance. I think that the Chiefs should get PBHS edge a call, and I think they should have us on the team. If they really want to stop Derrick Henry, we need Mr. Ellis at linebacker. We need.
Yeah, if you can convert me to Bob Spillane, I got it. But yeah, otherwise.
That Mr. Woodward is really itching to talk about the Jets. I know he's super excited to play against the Jets, but for this game, the Jets, Zach Wilson, I just feel that he snaps the ball, play action pass, and launches the ball down the field. But for this game, I definitely have the Patriots winning this one. Easy, you know. Mac Jones looks comfortable. Like I've said multiple times, he fits with the Patriots system. He just looks comfortable. And I just have the Patriots winning this game, score of 28-7.
If you want us to get on the Chiefs defense, I'm going to need some surgery on my knees. I need some new knees to get out in that field. But moving on to the Jets versus Pats, as Mr. Woodward loves saying, we've been giving credit to the Jets for not stumbling out of the tunnel during pregame warmups. And that's very true. But on the other side of the ball, my goodness, the Pats deserve some respect. I was a big doubter of them last week, and they proved that they can ball. This team is has some good potential. If I'm you, Mr. Wood, I'd be happy going from Tom Brady to having no one. But now it looks like you guys have something to build upon. And honestly, I think this Pats team is becoming a team. They're in the middle of the pack now. They can beat the teams below them, and they can have a fighting chance with the teams above them. And that's what they showed last week. And as for this game against the Jets, a team that's way below them, I think this is an easy win for the Patriots, 27-10.
Yeah, no, 100%. I agree with you, Onga. And the Patriots are a developing team. By the end of this season, I think they will be way stronger than they started. Mac Jones is coming off. He's starting to progress, which is good. But he can always be better. But the Jets are coming off of a bye week, and Patriots are coming off the loss of the Cowboys. But I think Zach Wilson is just not gonna have a good game. He's gonna get beaten pretty bad, 27-7, Patriots.
First off, AJ, you want to make that phone call. Give the Chiefs a call. I'm good for a handful of snaps. I could definitely do it. I'm ready. I'd be definitely hurting. I'd be hurting afterwards, maybe a few days off of work, but I don't know if I want to come up and hit Derrick Henry, but maybe some other people I wouldn't mind coming up and, giving it a shot. You know what I mean? That might be my head talking, and my body would feel it later on, but sounds good to me, man.
Hey, put Shannon Sharp on the other side of you, go after AJ Brown, right? Put Shannon Sharp over there on the other side.
But in a game, only fans of either team is going to watch, and maybe they may not even make time for it if it's a nice day, because two rookie quarterbacks. Granted, Mac Jones is 2-0 in games against rookie quarterbacks so far this year, including a win against Zach Wilson. And Zach Wilson does. He just likes to fling it. Whoever's out there to catch it, that's fine. He's like, we'll get the ball back again at some point. I'll get another chance. So I like where the Patriots are going to. Don't forget, they played miserably against Houston a couple of weeks ago before they played that great game last week. So I'm not sure what the story is in terms of dropping to their competition, but they're home. I think home will help. I think they'll play a strong game. I think the offense will continue to find itself. Again, I mentioned before, Damian Harris, love the way he runs the ball, man. He runs angry, and he is a great back. Get him to catch the ball a little bit more out of the backfield like Ezekiel Elliott did last week, man. He had a great week. He really showed he's a complete back. So this one, I see the Patriots 23-17.
Yeah, it's a great week to continue Mac's quest to sort of dictate the full game. I feel like I watch him, and sometimes he looks like he's really in control on a drive and just taking the ball up the field. Other times he kind of feels like he's not really sure of himself fully. So I think this is a perfect game to get right in terms of some consistency with that. I think they roll 27-10.
All right. For our next game, we got the Bengals going up against the Ravens, and I know Rashab is itching to get on this game. Itching. I can't wait to hear his prediction for this game. But I don't know if you guys seen on Instagram, for those who are on Instagram, where Joe Burrow was explaining to Jamar Chase that the back of those pylons is the end zone. See, now I don't know if he didn't know what the end zone was, or if he didn't, I just hope that they can figure it out, because the Ravens are going to be in the end zone a lot when they play against the Bengals, for sure, without a doubt. For this game, it's just going to be a blow through for the Ravens. I got the score being 34-20.
Looking at Jamar Chase his year so far, I don't think he needed explaining where the end zone is. He's found it 5 times in about 6 games. He has 550 yards. We were making fun of this guy like 6 weeks ago. He said he needed the stripes back on the ball to know how to catch it. And now it just looks like this man is going deep, catching anything he wants. His average reception is around 21 yards, 20 yards. That shows he's a big gain threat. And I feel like this is another trap game for the Ravens. They've been in so many close games with teams that we thought they would blow out. It's Lions, and then also with the Colts. And Lamar Jackson had to do Lamar Jackson things and save them. I do believe Lamar Jackson might be able to save them this game, but at some point, I'm not saying teams will figure out Lamar Jackson, but his magical luck is just going to run out. I'm not saying it's luck. I should say skill. But favor's just not going to fall on his side, as we've seen with the Chiefs defense. Sometimes the ball's just not going to fall his way. But this week, I think it will. And I have the Ravens winning this game 31-24.
Yeah, I mean, this is good. This is going to be a really good. I think personally, this is the game of the week. Like, trying to be like not biased as possible, but this is going to showcase if the Bengals are truly ready to handle a top tier offense. And the Ravens have like one of the best offenses in the NFL, obviously. But I think we also show a lot of resilience in this game defensively. I think that, Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow, that's a scary connection, but you got Marlon Humphrey on that secondary, and Calais Campbell's been eating all season. So I do think it's gonna be a challenge. And like Ungad said, this very well can be a trap game for the Ravens. The Bengals have been playing out of their minds recently. But I think the Bengals will throw Lamar Jackson a lot of like interesting looks on the defense, and Lamar will just probably have to do Lamar, make his reads, make whatever he has to do to adjust. And I think he's been doing a good job of that for the entire season. But I trust that this offense will get a lot going this game. So give me the Ravens 27-21.
Yeah, that sounds like a pretty good overall evaluation so far. You guys are definitely right on with this one. This is probably, Rashad, you're right. This is probably the game of the week. The Bengals are better than expected. And while, Mr. Ellis has got, it's like shooting fish in a barrel with the Clowns and the Bungles. I mean, those names just create themselves. And that's the way it was for years. But, the Bengals are better this year. And they've had moments, they've been to the Super Bowl a couple of times in their history, and they've had some great players. But the Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow connection is for real. And I think that playing in college together, I think that established it. I mean, that was a real strong connection, and they have brought it. And I do remember, God, you mentioned that he couldn't catch the ball in the preseason. He does not seem to be having any problems now. So I like that connection a lot, but I agree that Marlon Humphrey and some of the defense on the Ravens, they can shut that down. This is two good defenses. The Bengals have a great defense as well. I definitely took a look at defenses in prepping for this week a little bit. So, I see the Ravens being definitely in control of this one, but it's going to be tighter. And I know that LeVar would love to have a guy like Jamar Chase on his team. I don't think that any of the receivers that he has can do what Jamar Chase does. But I do think that at the same time, Joe Burrow would probably love to have a Mark Andrews to bail him out. I mean, those guys don't fall off trees either. But I think for this one, the addition of Rashad Bateman could be really interesting. I don't think he is necessarily going to have a huge game, but this could be the start of a huge rest of the season for the Ravens if he can start to establish, that inside receiver, possession guy that can get that first down catch to add on to what they're already doing from the tight end spot. So I see the Ravens in this one, tight game, but they'll win this one in the end, 30-27.
Yeah, you mentioned Bateman, and thinking back to watching him just run up and down the field against University of Maryland for a couple of years, and then I watch him out there, first weekend. Last week though, started to see sort of a little bit of an impact, started to open up. They have to guard it. You didn't have to really respect any other Ravens receivers. Now you have to guard him. All of a sudden, Andrews gets opportunities, right? You can't just sit there and bracket Andrews anymore. You have to actually cover the other slot receiver. You have to cover the guy who's lined up at the. I mean, you have to cover somebody, which is very different. And all of a sudden, Lamar looks like a different quarterback because he has some options. This is going to be blowout city, guys. I'm sorry, but I look at the Steelers. They're going to look back at the season and say losing to Cincinnati was an embarrassing loss. This team is only winning 6 or 7 games, folks. Okay? I'm telling you that right now. Look at their schedule. It's been favorable breaks, things of that nature. The warts are coming for this team, and it begins on Sunday. I got blowout city. I got Baltimore 37. Burrow stat patterns late in the fourth quarter to Jamar Chase 17.
I don't know if you remember freshman year, right when Joe Burrow and the Tigers blazed through my Clemson Tigers. And then you had a whole analysis on Joe Burrow that he's not going to be anything in the NFL, that cocky kid that got what he wanted when he was in college, and he's not going to get it in the NFL. So let's see if that's going to happen. Is he going to struggle?
Oh, he's going to struggle. And, he's been fortunate to be in good circumstances the entire way since the season started, right? What good team has he beaten? We're not a good team. What good team has he beaten? Still haven't happened. I mean, he still hasn't beaten a good team. He's never beaten the Ravens. So let's see it happen before we annoy him.
Yeah, and on the other hand,
Case Keenum's beating the Ravens. Case Keenum's beating the Ravens.
And Lamar's 5-0 against the Bengals. So, he wins the game. These 8 games he has to win because nobody's really there to compete with him. I guess, I don't know. Lamar's probably beaten the Steelers. He's beaten the Browns, probably, teams he needs to beat. And Joe Burrow hadn't done that. That's a good point. He's got to win. He needs signature wins. And those other quarterbacks don't need those. They've already got them.
Ain't happened this week.
All right. So for our next game, we got the Saints going up against the Seattle Seahawks. For some people, whenever I talk about Seattle, my longtime childhood best friend named Carson Elliott always calls them Seattle Sea Sucks. So, it is what it is. We're struggling, but I think it's just a game. Every time I lose a game, people always have the need to tell me it's just a game. It's not that deep. So maybe I should take that little saying and just apply it now. But no, not at all. Not at all. This is football, it's NFL. But for this game, I'm definitely worried. We have no defense. We have no secondary. I already know that Jameis Winston just gonna launch the ball down the field. Touchdown, Saints. Interception. Touchdown. I don't know which word I'm gonna hear. Whenever you hear Jameis Winston's name, it's like interception and touchdown is like the same thing to him. But come on, Seattle secondary. Come on now, as much as I hate to say it, I have Jameis Winston winning this game. It's going to be a score of 34-13.
I wish we were friends back then, AJ, because Mr. Ellis telling you about Joe Burrow and everything. I don't think Joe Burrow is cocky. I think he's a great player. And Mr. Ellis, the thing of being wrong with quarterbacks. Back in my freshman year, he sold me the dreams of Dwayne Haskins. He framed a lesson around him, maybe him becoming the next face of the Washington football team. And that man is sitting on his bench in Pittsburgh. I hope you enjoy that garbage of a
Maybe that was
player.
part of the plan.
Oh, maybe that's your master plan. We'll revisit that when Haskins.
I thought you knew me better.
You told me this early in freshman year. I didn't know your mind games back then. Your pre-planned tricks.
Oh, they're just beginning.
But focusing on the game at hand, we got the Saints and the Seahawks. The Saints, you either get a high power offense or a mistake heavy offense, and that will decide this game. As AJ said, their defense is horrible, but their offense they can hang some bit with Geno Smith. It's a big fall off, but nothing crazy. I feel like Geno Smith can keep them in this game if need be, as long as the defense helps them. But if the defense isn't helping them, and we get Jameis Winston, the one that scores touchdowns, like it's nothing, I think this is going to be a blowout, and I think that's what we will see. I have the Saints winning this 35-21.
Yeah, man. Seattle, they came off a heartbreaking loss in overtime. Geno Smith tried to do too much. KJ Watt came to rescue, fumble, boom, game over. But even with Geno Smith under center this week against a solid Saints secondary, I don't think things are looking bright for the Seahawks. And that offense led by Jameis Winston, followed by Alvin Kamara, and just that I think they're just gonna light up the Seahawks defense. The Seahawks defense is frankly just not that good. But I think the Saints are gonna pull away with a really, really good win, 33-17.
Yeah, I'm going to use the phrase for the second time this week. I think this is going to be blowout city. I'm definitely with you on the Saints thing here. So the Saints are confusing to me, but that's how I should have expected them to be with Jameis Winston at quarterback, especially in his first year starting full time on this team. But he has an extra week to prepare for this game because the Saints are coming off their bye. Doesn't have to face Russell Wilson. And, speak all the praises you want of Geno Smith. I do credit him for, being serviceable and making stuff work. And, he definitely is, he'll come out and he'll play hard and he'll show some leadership and he'll try to get that team to work. And he's got some good players on that side of the ball, DK and Lockett, but the Saints defense, again, I told you, I did a little bit of look. The Saints defense is top 10 right now also. And, they can turn the ball over like they did in that, win that they had against the Patriots earlier in the season. And even though it's in Seattle and, it's a tough place to play, I feel like the Saints coming off that bye is the key, I think. If they come out and they get rolling, they're going to roll. And, Jameis may still have 2 picks for sure, but he may have some long touchdown passes, as AJ said a few minutes ago. So I see the Saints walking away with this one, 31-13.
Hard to tell how good the Saints defense, the Seattle defense was last week when they're playing against a quarterback that telegraphs every single play and throws it in the ground on half of them. But they look like they had a lot of fight in the second half. I think they'll find a way at home to get this win. They came out with a gutsy performance in the second half. They proved they can be multiple with how they approach and how they attack. And if I'm them, I come out with that same attack against the Saints. I put it on the ground and I just plow them. I think they will. I think they'll get the win, and I like Seattle in overtime, 23-20, same score as Sunday, different result.
Not gonna lie, the blowout city hurt. Score predictions over 30 hurt. I'm not gonna lie. That was painful to hear, but I'm glad that the predictions for this game are over. And I can't wait to watch the game and watch our defense get picked apart by Jameis Winston.
But remember, AJ, it's just a game.
Yeah,
Well,
it's just a game.
I
Yeah.
still think Blowout City resides in Baltimore, where the septic tanks on Monday morning are going to spew something that looks very similar to that awful chili that you get in Cincinnati and Skyline. And
Oh.
some of the worst chili you've ever had in your life, ladies and gentlemen, comes from Cincinnati. Just like some of the worst sandwiches you've ever had in your life come from Pittsburgh at Permanis. And you heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Both of those places, gross. All right. Take us
All
home,
right.
boys.
So for my outro, I'm sparing all of you except, let me just change my camera so I can look at him, for Mr. Woodward. So my name's AJ. I am out. And to the guy, Mr. Woodward, my journalism teacher, to the guy that when he logs on Zoom with his camera off, he probably ran to the back and put on his Red Sox hoodie, turned on his camera, and made sure that he adjusted it so you could see the Red Sox emblem so he could just show off. It's Paint Branch Edge, and we will see you next week.